Did you see that? It was Ross Perot. It's in the White House, folks. Did you see that? Welcome to day 49 of the Raw Deal. The Clinton presidency, folks. That's what we're going to call it from now on. Welcome to Rush Limbaugh, the television show. Happy to have you with us. Tonight, castrated men who still fear the bicycle bar. Actually, somebody's going to do it someday. I can't believe you people. Some of you people. I go to great pains to review this movie last night. Actually, to review the review of a movie. And what I did on this show last night was to defend you, against a mischaracterization and a character assassination by a New York Times movie reviewer. I have been inundated with mail from you people. I'll share with you one such letter. It's a pretty good example of the mail I've been getting that says that you think that I ought to be championing this guy's cause out there. So we've got to show you some more clips from this movie and do a little bit more explaining, which we'll do tonight. I have heard from the son of the president of the Eskimo Pie Company. They, you know, are participating in the new bake sale deficit reduction program. Military base closings. Folks, words mean things. Liberals have survived for the longest time with symbolism over substance. They've wanted defense cuts. They've thought the defense budget was immoral. They've thought the military establishment was immoral and unnecessary. So now we're getting defense cuts, and who's crying about it? Liberal Democrats, and I love that. I don't like the cuts, but I love hearing them bellyache about it. Our fourth monitor's exciting. Some of you probably watching tonight expecting us to play the Rodney King video, the full minute and 21 seconds of the beating, and we're not going to do it tonight. And I could sit here and not say a word about it and make you think that, well, maybe they're going to do it, maybe they're going to do it, and unfairly hook you into watching the whole show, but I'm not going to do that. We decided that we're not going to play the beating in its entirety tonight because as we tape, Rodney King's testimony has not completed, and before we play the tape, I wanted to hear his testimony. I want to see what he says and incorporate that into the playing of the video. So that's coming up on a future show. Now, just a couple of quick things here before we go to our first break. There was, in the March 15th issue of the New Yorker magazine, there is a story. It's a long, involved, really complicated story that even if I spent this whole show trying to explain it to you, I couldn't. Suffice it to say that there's a guy in jail in Arkansas who was at one time a lawyer for one of the LA Four, one of the guys who's accused of beating Reginald Denny. This guy is telling a story that apparently half of it's true. The other half of it is all balderdash. And part of the story that's balderdash is he claims that he was hired by Ron Brown of the Democratic National Committee to bug my office, my radio studio and office in New York, and my home. What's not in the story is that what the evidence he was looking for was evidence that I am gay and that I have hired gay male prostitutes while on the road on the Rush to Excellence tour in Los Angeles. They also attempt to prove that one of my gay lovers is California Congressman Bob Dornan. That's one of the... Now, put that picture of Congressman Dornan. My friends, he is just not my type. I don't like redheads. I have just never been fond of redheads. This is a hideous story, and you'll be seeing more about this because now everybody in the world is calling, is this true? You know, reporters from different papers. Now, I want to show you this memo from Emory University. Can you put that up? This is a real memo from Gary Hawk, who is I guess the secretary of the university, Emory University in Atlanta. A big brouhaha started. Somebody walked into his office one day and stole some stationery, typed a memo claiming I was going to be the commencement speaker. I'm not. It was a hoax. And apparently a big brouhaha developed from this. There are a lot of people at Emory who would, of course, love to hear me speak, and all at Emory would benefit from that if I did it. But there are some at Emory who have no desire to hear me speak, and so all kinds of troubles develop. So he puts this memo out to explain it. Tuesday morning as a hoax, a memo went out to the Emory community on forged stationery from the University Secretary's office. The memo said that undergraduate seniors will receive only 2 tickets to commencement and that Rush Limbaugh will be Emory's commencement speaker. Neither of these statements is true. No self-respecting secretary of the university would have written this memo the way it's written. We have not yet announced the commencement speaker for this year, but the odds of it being Mr. Limbaugh are not as good as the odds of my winning the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Now, if he would have stopped there, it would have been okay, it would have been a yuck, it'd have been funny. Now, here's the next paragraph. Were we at all inclined to have our commencement guests listen to Mr. Limbaugh's sort of commentary, we might more cheaply invite David Duke. But then we'd have his last name to deal with. My hunch is that this whole thing is a perverse ploy by Mr. Limbaugh's fans to link him with something reputable for a change. Now, what do I stand for? Let me ask you, I stand for rugged individualism. I stand for the pursuit of excellence. I stand for taking care of yourself. Don't entrust your life to the state. I stand for trying to be the best you can be. I stand for prosperity for as many Americans as possible. What in the world is wrong with that message? How is it that that message would harm the students at Emory University or anywhere else? This is probably another guy who has no idea, other than what he's read from hysterical critics, what I really stand for. Well, apparently when that memo went out, a bunch of people got mad and called the university, people who liked me. So in the Atlanta Urinal and Constipation, which is the newspaper down there, is the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. Emory University is discovering what Peach Buzz, that's the name of the column, learned the hard way. Rush Limbaugh fans have no sense of humor about their atlas of the airwaves. Outraged Rush heads, it's actually ditto heads if the people at journalism here wanted to get it right, have been hounding Gary Hawk, secretary of Emory, since he issued a tongue-in-cheek statement disavowing a hoax memo announcing that Limbaugh would be the May commencement speaker. It's clear to me that the intent of the memo was lost on them, says Hauck, who was parodying Limbaugh's trademark hyperbole. I want to ask you, does it sound like he's just trying to parody me with this inclusion here of David Duke and this statement that it's a ploy by my fans to link me with something reputable for a change? Like I say, if he stopped at this clearinghouse sweepstakes thing, that would have been humorous and fun. I mean, this doesn't bother me at all, but I think it's just another classic example of these people won the election. Why are they so bitter? Why are they so upset? So they have to lash out with these personal assaults, and it's probably from people who really don't know much what they're talking about. I just wanted to share that with you and thank those of you in Atlanta who have come rushing to my defense. The rest of our show's right around the corner. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You know, this really does distress me. I go to the trouble last night of coming to your defense, and I get mail from you after last night's show, or yesterday's show, claiming that I ought to be out there championing this guy's character, this Michael Douglas character in the movie Falling Down. All the guy does is run out and shoot out the ceiling of restaurants. He blows up construction sites. He beats up people he doesn't like. And they got a movie reviewer who's trying to say that that's what you people are waiting to do. And all you're waiting for is a signal from me to do it. And I'm coming to your defense. Listen to this letter that I got from CompuServe last night. Rush, I have to thank you for the great argument that I got into today with my girlfriend and her mom. I have a couple problems here with you, Rush. One is that you're starting to act like a liberal. Maybe your ego's grown too big or something. My reasoning behind this is that you are articulating points about a movie that you've not even seen, something the left does all the time. Look at some of the reviews of your book. I think that if you had seen this movie, you would have understood more. There's too much in Falling Down that is a symbolic and visual experience. I myself think it is a very conservative movie and one that might create a world that Rush Limbaugh might discuss in his radio show or on his TV show. It is the world outside the EIB microphone. No, it is not. And that's what I'm trying to explain. Take a look. Here's more from this movie, and you tell me if people in this audience do what this guy's doing. Take a look.
You forgot the briefcase!
And what would a white guy in a white shirt and tie be doing in gangland?
In America, we have the freedom of speech, the right to disagree.
What kind of vigilante are you? I am not a vigilante. Just standing up for my rights as a consumer. I'd like some breakfast.
We stop serving breakfast at 11:30.
Have you ever heard the expression, the customer is always right?
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry, too.
No, it's an accident! It's an accident!
We got a nutcase with a bag full of guns. He's in Hollywood right now, and he's heading west.
Excuse me. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there's other people waiting to use the phone here.
He has a propensity for violence.
I think it's out of order.
Now, this guy goes on in his letter, I fear that your attitude in regards to this film might create the opinion, as it did with my girlfriend's mom, that this movie is not worth seeing when it's very funny and telling about the 90s. I never once said don't go see the movie. In fact, I have planned to go see this movie. But I want to read to you my response to this guy so that nobody misunderstands, because his is just one of several letters like this I received. Dear everybody, I was responding to a review of the movie, not the movie, which I haven't seen. I've seen trailers, and while I agree that the emotions felt by the Douglas character are real and understandable, his actions are not. Nor are his actions typical, and I resist the attempt by the reviewer to suggest that my audience and I behave in this manner or are inclined to behave in this manner. The reviewer sought to convince her readers that people like you are just waiting for some signal from me or someone else to begin a rampage much like you see in this movie. This I cannot tolerate. She didn't discuss in any detail the three other primary characters, nor did she touch on the themes that you profess to have seen in this movie. She thought the movie was bad, dumb, and designed to appeal to the lowest common denominator out there, you. I was coming to your defense. If you didn't understand that I was defending you, then either I failed to communicate to you or you didn't understand, didn't listen, and I suspect that it is the latter. This is a hideous thing, and you might like what the guy did, but you can't encourage that. Otherwise, you've got to sit around and say what they did in L.A. after the verdict is okay, too. And it wasn't either. So, glad to have had the opportunity to straighten that out. Quick break, back with more right after this. Don't go away. Military base closings. The liberals are what, folks? The liberals are, well, there are a lot of things wrong, but symbolism over substance. That is the essence of liberalism. Spreading misery equally and calling it fairness. That's what liberalism is. Now, we have these base closures, these defense budget cuts mandating these closures of military bases. Congress didn't have the guts to decide which bases, so they set up this commission to do it. The commission's rendered its decisions, and lo and behold, the people in California and everywhere where a base is going to be closed are going, hey, this is unfair, you can't do it. Well, you people have been running around saying we got to cut defense. You think those are just meaningless words? Cut defense, cut defense. We're finding out cut defense means something. You cut defense, you're cutting people. 60% of the defense budget is people. It's social. You don't cut defense by getting rid of weapons and tanks and airplanes and putting them in a graveyard. You're putting people out of work. You're closing bases. You're shutting down economies. This is what Bill Clinton stated he wanted to do. You elected Bill Clinton. You liberals and you Democrats, you say this is what's moral. You've got it. Now let's listen to some liberal Democrats respond to what they wanted as they get it.
Doesn't make sense to move forward with an economic stimulus package that has billions of dollars and then turn around and deplete the state by doing away with the very kinds of jobs you're trying to create.
Exactly. That's what we've been saying since the campaign. He says he's going to invest in America. He's not going to invest any new money in America. He's shutting down defense. He's taking the money from defense and shifting it to other people. This guy doesn't like the military. He thinks that people have volunteered to serve their country. No big deal. Let's give it to the middle class. Let's give it to people that make make them more dependent on me and my administration. Let's go buy some votes. The military isn't going to like me anyway. It's just a shift of money. They talk about all the jobs the Clinton administration is going to create, but they don't tell you about all the jobs their policies are going to lose. Listen to Ms. Feinstein one more time, folks. Listen to it very carefully.
Doesn't make sense to move forward with an economic stimulus package that has billions of dollars and then turn around and deplete the state by doing away with the very kinds of jobs you're trying to create.
Yeah, sounds awfully conservative to me. And here she is, a liberal Democrat senator from California, where they're practically shutting down San Francisco, which is where she's from. When we come back, the reaction to all this from Ron Dellums, who has been wanting all of this for years. Now he's got it, and he's not happy. And the mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, whose whole town may be shut down with this. After this, don't go away. We're back on Rush Limbaugh, the television show. This day 49 of the raw deal, the Clinton presidency. The raw deal continues with the closure of these military bases. Ron Red Dellums is chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. He has been opposed to the U.S. military for as long as he's been in Congress. He thinks it's immoral, unnecessary, and responsible for most of the trouble around the world. And he has been on a crusade to shut it down. He's been on a crusade to cut it. Well, now it is affecting his district. Treasure Island Naval Base, the Alameda Naval Station, all kinds of installations in California, in the Bay Area, are going to be demilitarized. And now he's howling about it. And he thinks it's a political vendetta because he's been opposed to the military for so long. The military is getting back at him by closing bases. And that's not, there's a good picture of him. That's not at all what's going on. Here's what he says: I will not have my community bear the brunt of a closure decision based on faulty analysis, political misperceptions, or a lingering desire to punish the Bay Area for its political orientation. What do you mean punish it for it? You guys been demanding it. The Bay Area said no to a home port for the USS Missouri. Anytime anything that was rumored to have nuclear weapons aboard came through there, San Francisco and Oakland stood up and said, get it out, get it out, get it out. You people have wanted the military out for as long as I've been around, so you're getting your wish. So stop belly aching. Welcome to Words Mean Things. I mean, this stuff is really agitating to me. You're only getting what you've always wanted. You silly bunch of pacifists out there. Hell, you ought to be throwing parties. Now, here's the mayor of Charleston, South Carolina. He was on a TV show, Good Morning America. They said, Mayor, how many jobs will the closing of the naval yard there cost your community? Here's his answer.
35,656 jobs, direct jobs, contractor jobs related in the community. The total would be 64,000. This would be the largest, completely unprecedented cutback in any community of any military installations in the history of our country. It would eviscerate our economy. It would be horribly unfair, and we believe not in the nation's best interest.
Now, you hear all these talks, all these discussions about investing in America. I want to go back to that because here's real life. You can have your president as a candidate or as president running around talking about investing in America, and you think, oh, that sounds so good. He's going to go out there and he's going to create jobs. And they don't tell you about all the jobs lost. Hey, what about the peace dividend? Isn't that going to take care of this? And I thought we were going to retrain all these military guys anyway. These military people that we're going to axe, yeah, we're going to retrain them. High-tech computer operator skills, we're going to teach them how to do that. Do you know of one course yet that's been set up one place? This is all smoke and mirrors. This is just transfer from one department to another on ideological and political grounds. The thing about this that bothers me is the military is comprised of people who have volunteered to serve their country. And the military budget, I've been telling you this for as long as I've been on the radio, 60% of it is social. Money to feed, clothe, and house people who have volunteered to serve their country. There's nothing immoral about them. There's no reason to put them out of work. And that's what's going on here, folks. And there are no new jobs being created for them to fill. Think about it. See you later.
Services provided and promotional fees paid.